Hello, today is Tuesday, the 9th of April 2022, and it's getting quite late because I spent about an hour watching YouTube, as you do. Today I wanted to talk about interpersonal compatibility. I think I'm saying this because I think I got a little bit hormonal today, a little bit angry at kind of everything, and just wanting to do my own thing on the holiday when everyone was kind of rushing around trying to fit in as much as possible. I just wanted to stay at one view for a long time. I saw this wonderful view with basically like 180 degrees worth of cliff surrounded by 180 degrees worth of cliff, and then a huge body of water. This was in what's it called? Something Island. Wow, I'm stupid. I don't remember. I'll show some pictures if you follow me on Instagram. So on the island, I just got a bit pissed, got a bit angry, and obviously this is in some part, actually probably mostly my fault, and likely due to some kind of hormonal thing. But I'm just not really feeling like I'm enjoying my holidays as much as I should, because I can't really do what I want to, and that is to just kind of look at a view and feel and really appreciate it to its fullest and feel all of the emotion that they can evoke. So I was thinking about what makes someone good to travel with, because the people I'm traveling with right now, family and family friends, it's just not right for me, because they tend to not appreciate beautiful natural views as much as I do, as a visual artist, as a photographer, and kind of just someone who appreciates nature and the beauty of nature, and someone who doesn't really care about the things about eating too much. Like I am happy to just not eat, to go and stay at some beautiful view for a while, or have more time to look at views, and just eat when the sun goes down. It's not a problem for me, but for others, it's a much bigger problem. So that's when I was thinking about who I'd want to travel with, and what comes of that is just in general interpersonal compatibility, and what the criteria are, and what my criteria is for traveling with people. And I think largely you want to have people who have the same worldview as you in general, or have the same kind of goal of travel. My goal of travel, for example, is to see beautiful sights and have new experiences in life. But if the people you travel with have different views, then they just want to go home, and that's the worst. But if they just want to go home, or they're lazy and they want to walk out and put a bit of effort into seeing something nice, or they enjoy eating much more than I do, then it doesn't work out very well, because you have conflicting interests. So you kind of need to travel with people who have the same interests as you, otherwise it doesn't really work. And someone gets angry. At least one person gets angry. At least one person does not get what they want. So yeah, I mean, personally, I think it's important to travel with not people who are obviously close to you and you can talk to, but people who share similar interests with you in regards to traveling. I mean, I'd probably prefer to travel with someone who's into photography, because they can appreciate spending the time to get a nice photo, and I don't have to feel like I'm rushed to leave or rushed to do anything, because they can just take photos with me. So yeah, I mean, that would be really nice if I could kind of travel and do what I want. I mean, having company is always nice, and nicer than traveling by yourself, but sometimes you just need to travel by yourself, right? If you can find the right company, I feel like traveling with others would be much better. Yeah. So that raises the question, you know, I think this, when people hear about like, interpersonal compatibility, like you would usually think of like romantic relationships, and I think the same kind of thing applies, except you replace a trip with your entire life, which is a trip in its own way. Say, and I think this also applies to friendships, but to a lesser extent, because you don't spend as much time together. Well, I don't really know, but I feel like you would spend more time with a significant other than you would a friend. I mean, that's my view of it, at least. But you spend much more time together, and so you need to have kind of matching wants, at least, or like a mutual interest in the things that you spend time together in. Yeah. I mean, really, that's what it all kind of boils down to. That you kind of share an interest in spending time on a certain thing, whatever that might be. And also, of course, values. I mean, you don't have to have the same beliefs, but the same underlying values must be there to have a good relationship with someone. If my values, and I've experienced this a lot, and my value of kind of the importance of critical thought and cynicism doesn't really resonate with everyone. I mean, I've had people tell me, and I actually believe them when they say this, that they don't think, and they don't like to think about hard topics or deep topics, and and to think I was interested in this girl, in this particular girl. Yeah, it's kind of obvious that there's no compatibility there, because I, as a very cynical person, there's almost no way I can get along with someone who doesn't engage in thought the same way I do. If much of my like when I talk to people, I like to talk to them about all sorts of like interesting topics, or at least topics that I find interesting regarding large world events, the important things, and the deep things, the meanings, the meaning of life, emotions, feelings, relationships, stuff like that, and kind of exploring them from a deep philosophical point of view. And if you can't even, and if someone can't even engage with that on a base level, it's hard, very very hard to be friends with them, let alone in a relationship with them, right? So yeah, there's for me at least in that situation, there was a very small amount of interpersonal compatibility, and you can kind of tell who the people are who you're compatible with, in romantic relationships, but also in friendships. You kind of you talk to them a couple of times, and you just know that you couldn't be good friends. So yeah, for me at least, the most important value is that the other person thinks cynically and critically, and at least can engage with critical thought. I mean, I have a lot of friends who aren't cynical thinkers, but they can engage in cynical thought, which is I'm very happy about. Right, it's more than good enough, though of course not ideal. I'm happy to call them my friends, and the relationship between us can become the friendship between us can become very strong despite not exact lineup of values. Essentially, what I'm saying is that I'm more extreme. I'm on the more extreme side of the critical thought, critical thinking, and people who are kind of less extreme on that end, but still are able to engage with the topics. Like we are compatible, and I don't think there's anything really else that underlies compatibility. Yeah. I mean, what other criteria, especially in relationships, would one have in terms of compatibility? I mean, obviously, your core values must align. You can't really have someone who is a ultra conservative and is kind of like afraid of weed, for example, or even alcohol, and someone who does some harder drugs to align, for example. So we need that, and I think you just kind of need to know how to spend time, or need to effortlessly spend time with them and enjoy it. It's the ambulance. Got down. If you're, I feel like the moments or the quote unquote friends I have, or I guess acquaintances that I have, who I don't feel like I am really compatible with in a lot of ways. I feel like it takes effort. It really takes effort to kind of interact with them and to spend time with them, and you can just tell easily then that you're not truly compatible as friends. If you struggle to talk to them, if you need to like try really hard or spend a considerable amount of effort thinking about a topic to talk about, or raising questions, I don't think you are really compatible in friendship or relationship or romantic relationship. So yeah, I think the time, like I don't care what that time is. You could be playing games together, but as long as you don't have to, as long as you're not putting an effort in to do that, I think it's okay. I don't know how well a relationship purely based on video games, for example, would turn out, but I would say it's compatible if you both really don't want to talk about other things and you just want to play video games together. I mean, I guess it depends on your concept, your ideal relationship, but that's that. Yeah, and so sometimes it's better, I feel, to just give up on people, or on developing a relationship with people who don't really meet those criteria. And this is 100% a defense mechanism in some way regarding my previous what's the term, romantic interest, right? Because we did not again, she was not much of a thinker, and so in many ways I'm glad that didn't work out, because it wouldn't have worked out in the long term anyway. And I knew that through kind of secondhand experience through talking to others, listening to others' experiences, self-analysis, introspection. Basically, I'm just justifying why I didn't pursue a relationship, because I knew it wouldn't work out, and I knew she wasn't interested in me for probably the same reasons, I would say. And I found out that she ended up dating someone I knew, and I I thought it made a lot of sense, because they're both kind of the same type of person, and the values they shared were compatible. It's they absorb themselves in kind of like, for me, more menial or like vanity, venacious, is that a word? Venacious things like video games. So they both were into escapism, essentially, which is video games, and they both did not like to think about big topics or really morally challenge themselves to become a better self, the Ubermensch, or have any cynical thought at all, have any critical thinking. And so I think they're very compatible, and I'm happy for them. At least I want to seem that way. So in many ways, it's difficult to find people who are like that, who share those same fundamental values as you, and who you're able to kind of talk to with little effort, or interact with little effort. But it acts as a great filter, so you can easily kind of weed people out, rather than wasting a lot of time trying to like develop relationships and see if it works. So that's a good rule of thumb, I'd feel. Yeah. And so that's kind of what I'd like to do, is to meet a lot of people and kind of just weed them out using that criteria. Yeah. Yeah, and I guess that makes it also extremely hard for me, because I feel like my criteria, or my set of values, is quite it's not special, but it's more rare in the modern world. And so I think, and I'm making excuses for sure, but I think it's hard for me to find people like that. So, well, I guess rant over. I don't know what more to say. I mean, I could talk a lot more about the kind of dynamics of relationships, but I think I'll save that for another day, and I'll leave you with this. I probably repeated myself a lot, so there might not be much real content in here, so I'll just cut it short rather than leaving it on. So let's call it a night. Maybe I'll come back with something more interesting and well thought out tomorrow. So we'll see what happens. All right, good night.